And now we ask that you please click on the link that has been posted on the Q&A chat so that we can do a quick review. This is not a quiz and all responses will be anonymous. We will give you guys a minute to respond and then we will review the questions with you.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and start with question 1. Are end of year bonuses exempt from withholding? 0 answered yes, and I see that all the responses that came in were no, and that actually is correct. So end of year bonuses are not exempt from withholding. That would be an example of a bonus that you would need to report to either utilizing the employer initiated acknowledgement on eIWO to report that bonus or lump sum payment, or you can utilize the child support portal on the Federal Office of Child Support Enforcement to report it, or you can contact the lump sum response team directly, either by email or phone, as soon as you know that end of year bonus will be paid out to that employee. If your employee does have past due child support, then you'll receive a one-time lump sum income withholding order so that you can withhold from a payment from that bonus. So question 2, when are you required to report independent contractors? Anytime you hire one, when you pay them $600 or more and file a Form 1099, or never report those independent contractors. I do see that the majority answered when you pay them $600 or more and file a Form 1099. That is, or file a 1099. So that is the correct answer. So for independent contractors, in addition to paying the independent contractor $600 or more, or filing that Form 1099, even if you enter into a contract with an independent contractor of $600 or more and you haven't even paid them yet, that independent contractor would still need to be reported. So also make sure you keep that in mind. And that independent contractor can be an individual or a sole proprietorship. So question 3, how many days after an employee leaves are employers required to report a returning employee? So for this one, I see the answers were 45, 60, 30, or 15. And I see that majority answered 60, and that actually is the correct answer. If that employee leaves your business for at least 60 consecutive days and then returns, you would report that rehire to the Employment Development Department. So question 4, I see within how many days does an employer have to report a new hire or rehire? So the the choices were 7 days, 90 days, 180 days, or 20. And for this one, again, I see the majority of you answered 20 days, and that is the correct answer. So for new hires, rehires, as well as independent contractors, you want to report each of those within 20 days. So now I'm going to turn it over to Sonia, and she's going to go over some additional questions in the review section.
Thank you, Angela. So I am going to go over the income withholding order questions and also the National Medical Support Audit Notice questions. So let's start with number 5. This question asked, you have an employee with 2 income withholding orders, but the net disposable income is not enough to meet both orders. So how do you determine which one gets paid first? The possible answers were the first one was you look at the dates on the IWO and give priority to the one that was received first. Your second choice was you pay the one that fully satisfies the IWO, and then the remaining net disposable income will go to the other. Or your last choice was you add both IWO amounts and send the maximum allowed per the net disposable income calculation, which is your 50% calculation. So I see most of you replied, selected the last choice, which is actually the correct one. You don't have to worry about prorating the amounts that you're sending to child support. That will be done at the state disbursement unit once we collect that payment. On your end, what you have to worry about is just, are you staying within the 50% threshold, and you're not exceeding that. So what we do ask is just if there's multiple income withholding orders for us, just go ahead and include the maximum amount that you can take and also the case numbers, but you don't have to worry about saying so much goes to this IWO and so much goes to the other. Let's go to the next question, and that was, your employee has filed for bankruptcy. Can you stop paying the income withholding order? And all of you said no, which is correct. I know this sometimes creates confusion because if somebody is filing bankruptcy, they're trying to get help with their debt, but child support is one of those items that cannot be written off with a bankruptcy. You may get maybe an amended IWO from us, just depending on what's going on with the case, but you definitely would not stop charging child support because of this. The only reason why you would stop is, again, when you get a termination from us. Next question is, you are currently enforcing an income withholding order from a local child support agency in California, and you receive a new income withholding order from another state for the same employee and the same child. So what do you do in this situation? Your options were, the first one was to stop enforcing the California order and enforce the new out-of-state income withholding order. Your second option was to contact your local child support agency and notify them of the new income withholding order. And then your third option was to enforce both income withholding orders as long as the net disposable income is below the 50% withholding limit. And the answer for this, well, based on the responses, it looks like we're a little bit split. Some of you thought they should contact the LCSA, and other people thought we should enforce both as long as it's within the 50% withholding limit. But the answer for this was actually the second one. We do want you to contact your local child support agency. The reason for this is we shouldn't have a garnishment for the same child and the same employee with two different states. Sometimes what happens is a party will move and relocate and they don't notify us, and then another state gets involved. They're enforcing the same order we're enforcing, and there's a conflict, and we need to resolve that and determine who should be enforcing. So again, let's not confuse this with a situation when there is another income withholding order for a different child. That would be a different family, and that's okay. This, again, we're talking about when it's the same child. We do ask that you contact us. Now let's go over number 8. Number 8 was, your employee says they can't afford the health insurance policy despite it being within the net disposable income guidelines. So what do you do? Do you return the national medical support notice? Do you enroll the children? Or do you ask the employee to contact the local child support agency? Most of you answered to contact the local child support agency. And while that is correct, you can refer them to us. Your role in this situation will be to continue enrolling the children. So the correct answer is actually the second option, which was enroll the children. But yes, like I mentioned, we do have that other calculation that we could do to determine if the child support, if the health insurance cost is reasonable. And if so, then we will do that determination on our end. For your role, you would continue by enrolling the children. Question 9, do you need to honor the national medical support notice if the employee indicates that the child or children already have health insurance? For example, if someone else is already providing it. The possible answers were yes or no, and 100% of everyone replied yes, which is the correct answer. Yes, you need to honor it. The only difference, again, is you can refer them to our office. There are times where we do make exemptions, and if health insurance is already being provided through a private insurance, sometimes we will allow that to meet the health insurance requirement, but at that point you would receive a termination. And let's go with the last question. So your employee's net disposable income is $500. Based on the information below, can you enforce the national medical support notice? And there was a chart included which said your monthly child support amount is $300. the arrears payment amount was $150 and the health insurance cost was $100. And most of you said no, and a couple said yes. The correct answer is actually yes. And if you remember, if you have time, you go back to the slides, you're going to see the priority of payment when it comes to child support. You're going to see that, remember, the first priority goes to the current support. So current child support, current spousal support. Third, the next priority is going to be for health insurance and arrears payments coming at the end. So in this situation, you would be, if you have $500 available, you would be applying the $350 monthly child support amount. You would be doing your deduction for the health insurance cost, and that's going to be set you at $450. So you have $50 left that you could send towards the arrears payment, not $150 like we're requesting, but that is why the answer is yes, because health insurance comes before any arrears payment amount. Thank you. Now I will hand it back to Lupe.